Good morning. This is Adam Smith with the Colorado Real Estate Finance Group on Monday, January 18th, Dr. King's birthday. Happy holiday to those of you that get one. Of course, here we don't really know what that word means, and I doubt a lot of you realtors do, as you don't even know what a weekend means. But, of course, I'm here with your weekly zero-cost marketing and contact management tip. Remember, if you'd like more information about the free classes I teach on contact management, zero-cost marketing, social media marketing, video blogging, don't hesitate to contact me or have your managing broker or title rep do that, as that is how most of the classes are arranged. But it's great information for anyone who has a direct-to-consumer relationship, like realtors, mortgage brokers, insurance agents, financial planners, and so on. And I'm always happy to share the information. So let's talk about this week's tip. And here is something that we deal with and work on and come across probably on a weekly basis. And shame on me for not sharing this tidbit in a blanket environment with all of you sooner. But this really has to do with your potential buyers who are currently leasing a property. And we hear a lot of this where people tell us they're not ready to start the process because they're tied into a lease until X date. Maybe it's this summer, for example. So I want you guys to identify how this timeline would look going backwards so that you can use it to your advantage to make your current renters, future buyers understand that this may actually be the time to get started on that process. So, hypothetically, you've got a potential client, a potential buyer, who's tied into a lease until the end of July. Let's just use that as a jump-off point. Their last rent payment is going to be July. Now, of course, you don't want them to double up on a housing expense, and neither do they, so you wouldn't want them to have a mortgage payment due until August. Well, knowing what we know about how the finance stuff works, if you wanted that first payment due in August, you could be closing on a house in early June. Now, we all know because of how the CFPB has put things together and what they have done to change our timelines, what the realtor boards have warned you about, what the state associations have warned you about, that you're probably doing a lot of 45-day contracts. Now, I know not all of you are in the Denver market, but we are, and a lot of you are, so we know that the market here is to a point where you might have a client making multiple offers on different properties before they finally score one. So between the loan process and the house hunting process, you could be talking another 90 days. So now let's back that up from the beginning of June, May, April, and really March. Early March could be the time frame for somebody to start looking at a house, looking at houses, looking for a place to own, even if they're tied into a lease through July. Now, don't get me wrong, but that's only 45 days away. So somebody who's tied into a lease through the end of July might not realize how soon they really want to start this process. And of course, getting qualified may even start that earlier. So you may be talking to clients in that situation who literally could be 30 days from wanting to start this process, assuming their lease is up at the end of July, 6 months from now, more. So there's this week's tip, how to kind of relate those timelines to your potential buyers who are currently leasing properties that they need to live out those leases on. Now, of course, along those lines, 9 out of 10 times today, a landlord's going to be happy to let somebody out of a lease as the market has progressed. They're going to be able to rent it for more to the next person anyway, so being able to get out of a lease really isn't as complicated as it once was regardless. All right, so that's this week's tip. Let's talk about this week's drawing. And just like in previous weeks for, I'd say at least a good year now, If you are the next person to subscribe here to our YouTube channel, then you will win this week's prize. Really simple. You're already watching the video. Click on subscribe. You're all done. And we'll ship you off this week's prize. So remember this week's tip. Your clients who are tied into leases may not be so tied and probably don't have a good handle on what a timeline would look like for when that lease is up and wanting to be into a property they own. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel to win this week's prize. Again, happy birthday, Dr. King. Have an amazing week, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye.